What's up guys, welcome to today's video. Today we have loads of stuff here on the table and we're going to break it down because we're going to build a mini RTX case with an RTX 4000 series. Now I'm going to give you some ideas on how to build it in the Cooler Master NR200P. And we're going to use the Hyper 212 Yhello Black and of course the V1100 SFX Platinum power supply. Now right here we have two cards, and just for the size comparison and everything that you might need to know, I'm going to show you how to place it inside. Of course, more detailed version of this with all the pictures and all the parts from the beginning till the end you can find on my website, which I will link it down with the complete article and how to do all of this. We have the MSI B650i Edge motherboard, which supports AM5 processors. We have here AMD Ryzen 5 7600X cooled with the Hyper 212 Yhello Black. We have 2x16 gigs DDR5 from Kingston Fury Renegade, which is RGB of course. And as you can see right here at the side, we have the V1100 SFX Platinum from Cooler Master, which fits perfectly inside. Now, what's it all about this case? They did some changes to the original one, so you can actually fit a RTX 4000 series card, but not any card, unfortunately, because the 4000 series are extremely big, and you can see it right here. So this is MSI GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Ventus 3X, and we have right here the MSI RTX 4080 Gaming X Trio. So these two cards, apart from the performance, apart from the stepping when we're talking about not generation but the name and finally the performance, we also have quite a difference when it comes to size. So this one is quite larger in terms of height, thickness and length, so it can't fit inside the case. Maybe it could if, for instance, we wiggle it a bit and you get a possibility to place it before the motherboard inside, but then you'll have to be very careful while placing the board so you don't scratch the backplate of the GPU. Of course, if you're careful, you could do it, but then again, it's really close when we're talking about the 12V HPWR connector to the tempered glass, so it might not fit. But the Ventus 3X actually fits quite nicely when we're talking about the length, when we're talking about the height, and when we're talking about the thickness. And because of the height, we have the possibility to plug in the 12V HPWR, let's say normally, because it's still not 3.5 centimeters of distance from the GPU to the actual side panel. But since we're talking about the cable that is running directly from the power supply and we're not using the standard extender that comes with these kind of GPUs, you could do it quite nicely. So how can you place the RTX 4000 series? Well, specifically this one that I have right here on the table inside the NR200P. The actually solution is quite simple because they changed it up a bit with the case, giving us here an opening that you can slide in the GPU quite easily. So I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do that separately. It just slides in without a problem. You do have to be careful not to scratch the backplate or any other parts from the graphic card, but it fits inside perfectly. And what you could do then is just place it inside the PCI slot without any problems. What do you need to take into consideration is, which is quite outstanding with the NR200P, is when you place the power supply, you actually have a couple of Velcro ties that give you nice cable routing management possibilities, and you can reroute the 24 pin, you can reroute the 8 pin EPS, and of course the 12V HPWR that kind of doesn't tangle on your graphic card, so you get loads of clearance. Of course, with this card specifically, you have possibility to mount two slimmer fans, I would say, and we'll get to that part later on, and you can place here at the top additional fans. I actually didn't, just because I pushed the power supply upwards, because the NR200P has that possibility, and will give you a nice clearance for the GPU. So as I stated, cables don't lay on the GPU, which is outstanding. So basically now, since you've seen that and since you know how the GPU goes in and that it can fit, of course you do need to take into consideration to check out their official website, which will give you more information on the sizes for the graphic card and how it supports. So basically, what's it all about? We have CPU clearance going up to 76mm with GPU in vertical position, 153mm with tempered glass side, and 155mm with vented steel side panel, as I already mentioned. Power supply clearance is 130mm, so V1100 SFX Platinum fits perfectly. Graphic card, 330mm of length including power connector, height 156mm including power connector, and wide 60mm with triple slot. You also get with the case 2 additional fans, and you get a PCI Express riser cable, which is 3.0 x 16. So in terms of all of that, let's place the GPU inside, check out the terminals on the, well, basically you know how it goes with the AMD processors, but check out the terminals with the graphic card. Could you possibly get better thermals when we're discussing the intake of the fans and everything such as that? Well, we'll basically know if the fans will have any impact when I get the thermals for the graphic card and check out the benchmarks. So what can you expect from the NR200P, RTX 4070 Ti, Hyper 212 Yhello Black, and the V1100 SFX Platinum power supply? It's quite an outstanding combination in all terms because it gives you a smaller chassis with great performance, and even though I ran benchmarks when it comes to gaming in 1080p, you can presume, because I already did the benchmarks with 4070 Ti and the AMD Ryzen 5 7600X, but just have some gaming inside this video, I wanted to add at least something. So when we go to AIDA 64 Extreme Edition, CPU, FPU, system memory and cache went up to, with CPU going up to 90 degrees Celsius and clock speeds going up to 5450 MHz, while the GPU went up to 71 degrees Celsius while the ambient temperature was 23. Now this is really good because the benchmark ran for half an hour, and basically what you get, you could even squeeze fans at the bottom to make additional intake and eventually place them on top as well to get outtake, and 92mm fan can go at the back because it does fit perfectly. So you can organize that and do even better, let's say, cooling in terms of outtake and pushing out the hot air, which is great. Cinebench R23, constant temperatures in 10 tests went up to 90 degrees Celsius with the clock speed 5225 MHz. Now the scores went constantly upwards like we got in past review tests concerning AMD Ryzen processors. It started from 14,654 and it ended up with a score going a bit down, but not drastical, ending up at 14,732. In gaming, what we got is quite interesting as well. So Shadow of Tomb Raider 79 on the CPU, 67 on the GPU. Hogwarts Legacy CPU 67 while the GPU 62. And Spider-Man Miles Morales CPU went up to 80 this time and GPU 64 degrees. All in all, I would say this is a sweet combination because you can pack a really nice rig inside this and you don't have to worry about 12V HPWR because, as I already stated, with the V1100 SFX power supply, it could be bent even earlier than 3.5 centimeters because with all the benchmarks the cable didn't get hot, and you just have to be very careful while plugging it in because after the click there's another click that actually makes sense when the latch attaches to the GPU, and that's important. Of course, do the same thing with other cables and to the power supply. So as already stated, you could close both panels without any problems. The tempered glass is touching this metal part right here, but you don't have to worry about electric conductivity because this is steel and tempered glass is glass, so nothing will happen when it comes to conductivity. All in all, nice compact build. Really like the color scheme here, going purple with the Cooler Master design and everything all together. what is there left to say? You have the terminals, you have the benchmarks, you have everything that you need to know. And basically, this case is designed for smaller cards in RTX 4000 series. One thing that I would like to add, even though we can't place a 4080 or 4090 inside, even though the V1100 power supply can support those cards, you could go with other brands such as Zotac that has even, I think, similar size graphic card. Don't be fooled by the size of cards that support AIO liquid cooling, which have it already pre-attached, because the graphic card is smaller, but you have to place a radiator somewhere, and unless you can fit it on top, which I doubt honestly, there's no possibility to place it inside this build unless you actually place a vertical position for the radiator, remove the tempered glass, and grab a smaller cooler for your Intel or AMD CPU. But that's all up to you, and be very careful, read the specifications, the thickness, and everything that you need to know, because doing such a build with smaller chassis and going with a graphic card or anything similar to that, even the CPU tower cooler, placing them inside such a smaller case, you do really need to take into consideration the dimensions of everything and of course the support of the case. I love this case in terms of the design, cooling capacity, even though it's a smaller case, and finally the looks. I mean, I really love this top panel, which is fully ventilated. The side panels are also fully ventilated with dust filters, because if you go without tempered glass, you have fully ventilated side panels on both sides. And you can even place a pump here on front if you decide to go with some sort of a custom liquid cooling system. But that's all up to you to decide how are you going to build your PC. That's all for today. Links for the NR200P is in the description, as well as the Hyper 212 Yhello Black and the V1100 SFX Platinum power supply by Cooler Master, so you can check out all of their products and maybe build something similar to this. Thank you for watching again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and notification bell, so stay tuned for all future videos, which will be interesting, hopefully for everyone. So guys, thanks, see you next time, bye bye.